senior executive of a company in Bombay, and he takes time off and works on these social causes. Professor Chaturvedi is a professor, full professor. These days people take degrees from he's got a PhD from IIT and he teaches statistics, economics at the International Management Institute of International IMI. It's a well-known institute in Delhi. And since I stopped going to Harvard, he has started to go to Harvard. And he'll be going again this summer there. And then we have Chalapati Rao, who is an advocate, and he's been a long associate from the time the Janata Party was formed. Jagdish also, again, all came at the early stages of our party, but this meeting is not a party meeting. It's a meeting of patriotic peoples. It irritates the others that this PT is emerging as an exclusive club. But we have, after independence, ignored the value of patriotism. Patriotism doesn't mean that my country right or wrong. That's Nazi Germany. We don't want that kind of patriotism. Patriotism is a commitment to make the country great and not to let down the country anytime. To safeguard its integrity, its sovereignty, its territory. And therefore, every issue which concerns the country's honor and dignity, we are ready to go to any extent. Many people ask me, why you go after the killers of Rajiv Gandhi when the widow of Rajiv Gandhi is not going after? Well, the widow has a reason for not going after. I think, how dare a foreign terrorist organization come to India, declare the assassins declare the Supreme Court, we wanted to teach Rajiv Gandhi a lesson for sending IPKF to Sri Lanka. And therefore we killed him. That means the Prime Minister makes a policy, right or wrong, and it is not to the liking of some organizations abroad, they can come and kill him. So therefore, to defend not Rajiv Gandhi, although he was my very good friend, not to defend Rajiv Gandhi, but to defend the sovereignty, integrity and honor of the country. And put up a fight. Mr. Prabhakaran put me on the hit list. And newspaper correspondents asked me, he's put you on the hit list, what are you going to do? I said, I'm putting him on my hit list. And we'll see who goes first. So therefore, when it comes to the country and defense, we are ready to make any sacrifice. And that is our history also. Victory, defeat is not the first most important thing in our culture. It is the determination to make the sacrifice for the greatness of the country. If you get victory, all the better. Rana Pratap is highly regarded in the whole country and in Rajasthan in particular. Did he lead you to victory? No. In the end, he had to go and hide in the forest. And for food, he used to dry grass. His grass They used to dry grass, make it into paste and then make it into chapati and eat that. A king having lost everything, hiding in the forest. So his cousin came from Jaipur, Raja Man Singh, and told him, I have a message for you from Akbar, that you declare him the Badshah of India, the king of India, and he will give you back everything in Udaipur. So Rama Pratap said, no, I will not do it. So his cousin said, then what are you going to do? Spend your life eating chapati made out of grass? What did you get out of it? So he says, I will get out of it, you are asking? What I will get out is that future generations, mothers will name their sons after Rana Pratap, and on your name you will spit, saying that he... So Man Singh lived in luxury of his palace, but nobody in Jaipur or any part of the country must remember. The same thing is true in Tamil Nadu of Kattaboman, or in Karnataka of Rani Chennamma, or you take Rani Jhansi. She did not lead you to victory, but we adore her. Subhash Chandra Bose, he did not lead you to victory, and the sheer courage of taking on the British Empire single-handedly that much. So that has been our tradition. And I would like to inculcate that tradition in our younger generation, because now this new younger generation that is sitting before me, highly educated, well motivated, well endowed, got a job, got training, and now there was a conflict, and now the country is in Aryans and Dravidians, and then this caste system, all these things are given a negative interpretation to make you feel, to undermine your self-confidence and your pride in your past. So therefore, my object first in this session would be to give you the broad picture within which a patriot must work. And you want questions, you put it down in a piece of paper. I don't know whether a piece of paper is being circulated. And give it to these organizers. They will group it into common subjects. And within the time permitted, I will try to answer the question. Now, patriotism is your identification with the country. What is India? What do you mean by identification? Identification means that I consider myself subservient to the interests of the nation. The nation's interest shall prevail over my personal interests. It will prevail over my family interests. It will prevail over my state's interests. And to the best possible extent, I will design my way, I will design my interests in such a way it's in harmony with the national interests of the country. Today there is an agitation going on by a small group of people in Tamil Nadu against the President of Sri Lanka, because they say that the Sri Lankan President committed human rights atrocities on the Tamil people. Well, first of all, we are also accused of committing human rights violations in Nagaland, Mizoram, in Manipur, against the Maoists, against the Kashmiris. These allegations are made all the time. But It is very surprising that these Tamil groups, who have connection with some small Tamil groups in Sri Lanka, they say that it is the Sri Lankan army which carried out these human rights exercises. Earlier on they said the Indian IPKF also did the same. So much so that when the IPK returned to India and landed in Chennai, Karunanidhi was then Chief Minister. He refused to go and receive them or take their salute. Now I ask you, is the Indian policy towards Sri Lanka to be decided by what the Tamils of Tamil Nadu decide? We cannot go by that. We have to look at what is the Indian national interest and see if the Tamil interests can be accommodated in that. Furthermore, if you say that the Sri Lankan army carried out these atrocities, it says that I got an order. Then why did you obey it? Now what is happening is that because of this behavior which is forcing through the DMK, forcing the UPA government to oppose the Sri Lankans in international forums, slowly Sri Lanka is going towards China and Pakistan. So therefore you are harming India's national interest by speaking about this issue. No doubt the Tamils there deserve a better deal than they have got. There are 35% of the population in Sri Lanka and they don't have a state of their own. And therefore Sri Lankan government must be forced to amend its constitution to give the Tamils a separate state, not independent country, a separate state like Tamil Nadu we have in India. We find it in other places also. In Punjab, the Akali Dal says you cannot hang some Rajawa or somebody, or the killer of Byan Singh, even though the Supreme Court has said that they should be hanged, because it will be against the interests of the Sikhs. Somebody says you can't hang Afzal Guru because it's in the interest of, it's not in the interest of Kashmiri peace. These are all indications that when the glue of patriotism is not there, then we will all slowly wither into separate countries. Don't forget that many powerful countries have broken up. Pakistan was a military dictatorship, it broke into two, Bangladesh and the remaining part of Pakistan. That's why sometimes it gets confusing to talk about Pakistan. So I often say, Pakistan broke into two, Bangladesh and Pakistan. What is Baki? What remains? So, they broke into two. It may break into four tomorrow. You have a strong government in Delhi, it will definitely break into four. Similarly, Indonesia broke up. Soviet Union, which is so powerful, was considered a superpower equal to America. It has broken into 16 countries today. What is today called Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan and Lithuania and Uzbekistan and so on, they are all part of the Soviet Union. Today all that remains of Soviet Union is Russia, and they have themselves changed their name. They have given up Soviet Union, now they call themselves simply Russia. So many countries have broken up. So many countries in Europe broke up. India has not broken up despite the best efforts of everybody, but that's why we must now keep the spirit of patriotism alive, which means that we will say that national interest will always be above our state interests and personal interests. When the state interests and personal interests harmonize with the national interest, then we can have both. For instance, if Telangana has to come, I will fully support it because the country will be benefited. Smaller states will produce better economic growth than larger states. And you see that example around the country. And Telangana, people are not saying, we want to become another independent country. They say we are part of India. They are not going to go anywhere. So that is the first requirement of patriotism. Placing national interests above your state interests, your regional interests, your linguistic interests, your personal interests. Second is that patriotism is recognizing who your people are. All who live in India are one people. Even Sri Lanka is a one people. The Sinhalese came from Bihar and Orissa. And the Tamils came from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Now, unfortunately, Rahul is not taking interest in Sri Lanka. But these Tamil politicians, they are taking, just because they are just 30 kilometers away from Sri Lanka. So a lopsided picture is created. So we must treat Sri Lanka also as our brother's nation because we are both Sinhala and Tamils came from India originally. But I would say even within India there is so much confusion. This whole Aryan Dravidian theory was concocted by the British. And all these historians who were trained by the British like Romila Muhammad just kept repeating it. Word Aryan is not there in the Vedas, it is not there in the Upanishads, it is not there in the Gita, it is not there anywhere. But the word Arya is there. Arya means a gentleman, a sculptured person. Just like the word Ayya, which probably came from Arya, in Tamil it means the same thing. Dravida is a Sanskrit word. Karnanidhi does not know this. It's a Sanskrit word of two, it's a sandhi of two words. Thara and Vid, which means where the three oceans meet, or three coasts meet. That is, Dravida means a southern region. And this is, the word was coined by Adi Shankara when he went to North India to debate with Mandara Mishra. And there time they asked him, who are you? He said, I am Dravida Shishu. Shishu means child. And from that the term came. Now if you recent tests on DNA shows we are all the same people. Sometimes people say, no, southern people the skin is darker. So what? When is race decided by skin color? Skin color is decided by pigment in your skin. If you roam around the sun, your skin will become dark. And as you go closer to the equator, the South India is, the sun gets more direct. You take out the pigmentation, your skin will become like the Europeans. Michael Jackson did that. You know the name Michael Jackson, the singer. He went to a plastic surgeon and said, take my pigmentation out. He took his pigmentation out, he became white man, just like a white man. So therefore, weather is responsible for skin color. It's got nothing to do with race. Race can only be decided by testing DNA. Either you will take the scrap of the skin and test it, or take a blood sample and test it, or take your hair. Even from your hair you can decide what your DNA is. And research has been done, it shows that we are all one people. There may be in the fringes some extra outside, like for instance, Arunachal, you may have some Mongoloid influence. But even the Arunachal people's DNA is 95% similar to our DNA. So therefore we are one people. Whether we are Brahmins or scheduled castes, whether we are Hindus or Muslims, we are all one people. And I have tested this in Bombay, when Raj Thackeray said all these UP taxiwalas should go back. They are taking our Marathi jobs away. So I got somebody to get me Raj Thackeray's hair sample. And I paid 10 rupees and got a UP taxiwala sample, hair sample. And I had to test it. And I found both their DNA is the same. That means either the UP taxiwala is a Marathi or Raj Thackeray came originally from Uttar Pradesh. So this Aryan Dravidian bogus. Brahmins and scheduled castes are different races bogus. All are one people. If the nutrition of all our people becomes the same, we'll all look alike. If the exposure to sun is minimized, we'll all look alike even in skin color. So that is the second thing to pick up. Not to think of yourself as a Telugu or a Tamil, or to think of yourself primarily as an Indian. And I call that Hindustani. I say to Muslims and Christians also, you are also part of the family. Because your DNA is the same as mine. And therefore you mean that you are descended from Hindus. Accept that. They are very reluctant to accept it publicly. Privately they say you are right. But publicly, you know, when they go abroad, they are not treated as people who are originally come from Saudi Arabia. In the Hajj, you see, they call all Indian Muslims as Hind. And they segregate them. So therefore, this patriotism will start first by first identifying that the nation's interest is above all your other interests, and two, that we are all the same people. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, when the word, he used the word Hindu, not Indian. Vivekananda in Lahore gave a speech after returning from America. And he said, when the word Hindu brings electric shocks in your body, when you see a Hindu in distress from India, and culturally, India is described as Hindustan, a land of Hindus and those others whose ancestors are Hindus. If a foreigner comes here and he or she becomes a Hindu, then we accept that because there is no ceremony to become a Hindu. You just say, I am Hindu, you are Hindu. All other religions have ceremony. But Hinduism doesn't know ceremony. If you say, I am Hindu, you are Hindu. So if foreigners are there or they live here so long that their ancestry also can be traced to Hindus, like the Parsis today. They originally came from Iran. Iran, by the way, today may be a foreign country, but in Ramayana it was not a foreign country. Kaikeyi came from Iran. How many people know that Kaikeyi was an Iranian? And Zoroastrian's teachings, which are there before the Muslims came, they are very similar to our Hindu philosophy. So therefore, anyway, the issue is this, that we regard ourselves as one people. And we may have disagreements on whether you should have a separate state or not a separate state, or whether my language should be given some more importance, all that. Those differences you can have. But when it comes to nation being in danger, we are one people. And that sentiment is there. I saw it in 1962 when the China attack took place. Even the Chinese leaders told me that they were surprised because the propaganda was sold to them that India is a motley crowd which the British have put together as a nation. And one big blow to them, they will break up into several countries. Like Yugoslavia broke up into 4 countries. So they said when the attack took place in 1962, they were expecting India will break up into 20 countries. Instead of that, India became more united. Even women started taking off their gold bangles and all, giving it for the National Defence Fund. And there was a huge euphoria. The same thing we saw when Indira Gandhi was assassinated. The same thing we saw in 1977 when after the emergency the elections took place. So India still that is there. That strong bond is why India is today, even today, not broken up despite the best efforts of so many foreign powers to pick it up. So I would first of all want you to understand, patriotism doesn't mean my country right or wrong. If my country goes in the wrong direction, it is my patriotic duty to correct it and bring it into the right direction. So, therefore, if we are patriotic people, what does secularism mean? Secularism means what is stated in the Hindu religion, which is that all religions lead to God. Is there any other religion in the world which says this? Does Islam say it? No. Islam says the opposite. If you are not of my religion, then you are a kafir. Either you are reduced to being a dhimmi and doing dirty work, cleaning work, or you have to be killed, or you have to convert. Christianity says you are a pagan. To save you from the devil, they have to convert you. It is a fundamental right of Christianity to convert. Hindu is the only religion which doesn't believe in conversion. And as a consequence, all our associated religions are also like that. The Sikhs will not try to convert, the Buddhists will not try to convert, the Jains will not try to convert, the Parsis will also not try to convert. So, already it is there, the secular principle is there. When they say Narendra Modi is a hardcore Hindu fanatic, he is therefore communal. I say, how can you say both things? That is communal and hardcore Hindu fanatic. All Hindu fanatics will be secular because as a Hindu, you believe all these things. So I would say that the first thing you have to know is this long continuing civilization. The distinctiveness of India is its Hindu religion. We are not denouncing Islam or Christianity. Yes, they are there. But what is the continuing part of India? They don't go to madrasa here. So, the distinctiveness of India, they say, no, there are other religions also contributed. Maybe Ganga flows from Gangotri to Bay of Bengal. And so many rivers, a lot of wrong notions are there. Haven't been taken out. They say science was brought to us by the British. Rubbish. They didn't have any science. Bhaskaracharya invented calculus. He sent it to Europe, and from Europe it went to England, and nobody gave credit to Bhaskaracharya. Both Leibniz and Newton passed it off there as no. Leibniz and Newton had a fight. Who got it first? But the person who got it first was Bhaskaracharya. Decimal Hindus, then zero, without zero it was very difficult to do any calculation. That is why today NASA says the most computer-friendly language in the world is Sanskrit. And therefore in NASA, if you want to study artificial intelligence, you have to first learn Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the minimum requirement. But in India, if you say learn Sanskrit, then you are communal. Sanskrit language has vocabulary in every language in India. Some more, some less. Even Tamil, which grew along with Sanskrit, unlike other languages, has a long history. That Tamil has 40% words which are from Sanskrit. I once told Karnanidhi this. I said, listen, just take the Madras University dictionary, English to Hindi, English to Tamil, and you will find that the Tamil words are 40% Sanskrit. He said, no, that is not correct. I said, well, alright, let us count. He said, no, nothing to count, I agree with you. But it is Sanskrit which stole these words from Tamil, not that Tamil got it from Sanskrit. That doesn't matter as long as it's common. Even Karnanidhi's name is Sanskrit, Karnanidhi. What Sanskrit names? And in Tamil, if you say election symbol, what do you say? Chinnam. That is Sanskrit chin. And what is there in the Chinnam? Udayan Suryan. That is 100% Sanskrit. So anyway, I am saying some Telugu has more Sanskrit words, Bengali has even more, Malayalam has even more. So this Sanskrit language today is something, your patriotic duty. Either you should learn Sanskrit or you should see that your children learn Sanskrit, and over the years you should see that Sanskrit comes back as the linked language for India over a period of time. Or you make the Hindi into Sanskritized Hindi. All the vocabulary from Sanskrit. So slowly Hindi will become Sanskrit. That is what Shankaracharya did with Pali. His Shishya said after he won the victory and re-established Hinduism, his Shishya said, shall we boycott Pali? He said, no, let it be there. But the vocabulary won't fitting Sanskrit words into it. And over the period of 50 years, Pali became Sanskrit again. So here too, we can do it, and if we get a government tomorrow, India government comes and makes a rule that you cannot get a law degree unless you have learned Sanskrit. Because in Sanskrit there is Mimamsa school of logic, which is even better than the Western logic and legal logic. But how people don't know. So you must make Sanskrit compulsory. College, you should say Sanskrit is compulsory. School, you need not make Sanskrit compulsory, but optional. Those who want to learn Sanskrit and not some other language, they can. Over the years, we must plan now, because of the computerization that is taking place, and the fact that both Devanagari script and Sanskrit language are computer friendly. Therefore, over the years you must see that everyone who is educated learns, knows Sanskrit. So this is also your patriotic duty. Patriotism is not that I'll pick up the gun and fight for the country or go and shoot some Pakistanis. No. That's not enough. It is the development of the human being. So I would say first requirement of patriotism is to place your country's interest above your interest, your state's interest, your family interest. Where there is a clash, national interest shall prevail. Second, you will regard all the Indians in India to acknowledge that their ancestry is Indian, you regard them as your brothers and sisters, irrespective of their caste or their region or their language. And third is that you will strive to communicate with other Indians over a period of time. English is not to be boycotted. English is an international language, thanks to the Americans, who have now made it into an international language. English will learn, but within our own academic discourse, increasingly we will use Sanskrit, interstate. So this is another resolve we should have. Another patriotic duty is to learn the correct history of India. I have been told by college students if India was so wonderful in those days, why did we lose to all these foreigners? We were beaten by anybody who came from abroad. Well, we may have been beaten, but we never gave up. I did myself realize the real essence of it, of how we fought, till a Saudi Arabian student of mine at Harvard came to me to ask a question after class. He wanted to know why India is still over 80% Hindu. So I said, what do you mean? He said, I mean this, that in my university in Riyadh, there is a research going on that wherever Islam went, it was able to convert the entire population of that country after conquering it into 100% Muslim. I said the example, I said we went to Iran. Iran was Zoroastrian. We captured it and converted everybody to Islam. We went to Mesopotamia, Babylon, which is now known as Iraq, and in 17 years we converted everybody to 100% Muslim. We went and conquered Egypt, and in 21 years we converted everybody to Islam. And he also said the Christians also did the same thing. They went to Europe in 50 years. They converted the whole of Europe into 100% Christian. But in India, 800 years, city dwellings or the population centers, but in open Maidan, in front of each other. So, Kurukshetra is an open Maidan. When Rama had to be fought, Ravan came out of his fort. He didn't stay in his fort and tell Rama, come in, you can. But instead he went out in the Maidan and fought him. And third is that if after the battle you lose and you say, I am sorry, please forgive me, then everything is returned to you and you are given a good send-off. And that's what happened with Glory. Each time we go to Prithviraj Chauhan, I made a mistake, I will not come again. And Prithviraj Chauhan also kept on forgive me and sending him back. Till he realized that these Indians will not fight in the night. They will not fight in the population centers. So he attacked at 3 a.m. in the morning and he attacked in the cities. And that's how Gandhi was able to establish himself. So this is because of this, we didn't realize that the foreigner doesn't believe in our rules. These rules are for us only. When we fight amongst ourselves, but not for the foreigner. Today also we don't realize how to fight the foreigner. Today the foreigner is not doing physical attack, he is doing mental attack. People say, oh, see, you all the time criticizing this poor Sonia Gandhi. She has come here, she is wearing sari, she is putting bindi, she is trying to become a bahu, a daughter-in-law, and you are not allowing her. I said, listen, I have learned from Ramayana that when Ravan came to pick up Sita, he didn't come like Ravan. He came as a sannyasi when Bhagwan came. So I'm not going to be fooled by all this. So I am therefore saying that we must realize now how we are being attacked. We are being attacked by ideas. These ideas are making us into babus, clerks. Our Indians today, they don't want to take risk on anything. They are afraid of failure. When I was teaching at Harvard, I had students from large number of countries. And at the end of the class, he used to say, okay, now, after graduation, because you are Harvard, you will get a good job. But what kind of career do you want? Do you want to go into some new venture, risky venture, and that venture may make you a billionaire like Microsoft's man, what is Bill Gates? Or you may fall flat on the face, become a failure, and be on the street. Do you want that kind of a life? Or a career? Or you want to join a job? Every year your salary will increase, provident fund will be deposited. At the age of 60, you will get a big provident fund. You will get your provident fund back, and you build a house and watch television for the rest of your life. But all the Indian students told me in the class that we want a second job. So I said, why? That is guaranteed poverty, that job. Why do you want that? They said, maybe, but it is guaranteed. That is why we want that job. Guaranteed poverty is also okay, as long as it's guaranteed. Risk is something Indians are afraid of. Don't want to take risk. That attitude has to go. You must now, in your patriotic duty, take risk. Try new things. Set up your own company. Go for new inventions. That spirit has to come, and it can only come if you acquire, if you know, and is left. Yeah, that's the answer. Okay. Because I have another session also in the afternoon where I will deal with the question of how India can become a developed country and how India can protect itself against terrorism. But today I will give you the general principles of patriotism. What a patriotic people must be, what should we know, what should we say, what do you mean by patriotism? That is what I wanted to devote myself to. What time will I get on till? Alright, after 5 minutes. I finish up in 5 minutes. Alright, now, finally, there are two things left for me to deal with. I might deal very briefly now and then later on the concluding session. One is that how do you achieve true happiness? Because if you are going to be patriotic and going to serve the country and going to make sacrifice, you must also be internally contented person. We know that the Western system is not producing happiness because they are coming here. Go to Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's ashram one day and you will see 40% of the people there are rich Americans and Europeans. Ask them, why have you come? Because you want to know how to be happy. You know how to make money, but you don't know how to be happy. So how Ravi Shankar can tell you that? That is where we learn from them that there is a method by becoming a happy person. Even when you are not succeeding. And even if you are succeeding, you will not necessarily be happy. So that is something that again goes back to our culture. How we taught ourselves to remain happy even in the face of adversity. What is the outlook we should have by which we shall always be happy and smile? The second thing is that we need is to know we are not only enough to be patriotic. Now you are, wherever you are, you must become a leader. Which means you must be able to influence other people to think like you. And what are those elements of leadership? So now you are clear the word patriotic means you place your national interest above your personal interest, family interest, state interest, linguistic interest, all other interests. Two, you regard all Indians who accept that their ancestry is rooted in this country. You accept them as your brothers and sisters. They are all one people, there is no difference. You may have some variations of language and so on. I may eat idli, somebody may eat aloo paratha. But now idli has also gone to North India. Even in Kashmir you get idli. You may not recognize it as idli, but they call it idli. So, this is the second thing. The third thing is that you will be patriotic to make a resolution that you will promote such faith, either by learning it yourself or making someone else learn it. Or creating conditions where your school to which you want to go is where it teaches Sanskrit. Fourth is patriotism is you will strive to learn the true history of India. If you are sitting on exam, please write all the rubbish that you have been taught. And don't put all these ideas I am giving you, you will fail. That is not, they will keep that. But over the period you propagate. Correct history. And then finally you will be bringing about economic change in the country in such a way that you become a happy person. Everybody becomes happy. Not only prosperous, but happy. Not only prosperous and happy, but not corrupt. Why you become corrupt, that also I need to tell you. Why corruption is growing in India, in a country where 1,000 years ago people never even heard of corruption. All foreign visitors who came to India said that the one important thing that we have noticed about India, so honest these people are, that even when they go outside in the evening from their house, they don't lock their house. Or if you go and leave something there by mistake, they will chase you and return it back to you. That is the character of the Indian once upon a time. Hospitable. Parsis came, we gave them a place to stay. The Jews came, we gave them a place to stay. We never persecuted any religion. Even when we had a quarrel with Buddhism, we did not burn any of their books. Like the Christians did in Goa, burned all the Hindu books. The Muslims did all over India, demolished temples. None of that we ever did. Such a culture, nothing. So, these are the elements you have to learn and get pride from it, then propagate it. And on that basis, you build your character as a patriotic people. Now, if there are any questions, we have to answer them.
Answer session now, and probably for another 25 minutes. I think we have your questions, but I think there is a mic also. We can start with the mic and then we will manage it.
And one joke item. See, once in America, a group, mostly of Indians, will be very strong. So all of a sudden there will be a later being attacked by a So one of them, keeps the number 3 times. So the next day paper reads like every Indian they say child. So that guy goes and class that my friends are Indians but I am Pakistan. So the connection says that an innocent dog killed by a Pakistan. The perspective they are picturizing. Like for example, when Modi gained 115 seats, they picturized that he lost 2.
By media we mean all channels,
All channels must be given some kind of rating.
all newspapers.
Yeah, all everything.
Well, there is a system you can write to the press council saying that they have given us hope and they have printed this lie and they should be censured for it. If it's a defamatory lie, they can go to court and file a defamation suit.
No, I'm thinking in terms of perspective.
Personal. Perspective.
Yeah.
No, see, the thing is that media is now under heavy pressure because there's so much competition. How many newspapers come out of Hyderabad? English and Hindi and Telugu put together? News. So therefore, I think you see, we should not think in terms in a democracy of controlling the media to do the right thing. We should learn to prosecute them, penalize them, punish them when they do wrong. Not by controls and censorship to see that they do not utter lies. That is not possible to do. You don't have the machinery for it. So I think the best thing is what nowadays you PGs are doing. You are hammering all these pagalikas and burqa. No. Thank you. You not send. So that is the way, this social pressure rather than governmental pressure. Okay?
If patriotism is really that influence, how come all these unpatriotic elements win elections? Elections after elections. And patriotic people are unable to, put their people as representatives.
Why? Because she tried to tamper with democracy. So, it is not correct to say that unpatriotic people or undemocratic people win elections all the time. If the issue is made, then they will. Why is Congress today? Congress government executing Kasab, not really Kasab, but this Afzal Guru also. Because they see this anger of the patriotic people. And they don't want to be on the wrong side. One day Mulayam Singh told me, he's a very good friend of mine, he told me, I asked him, why are you doing so much? Don't go to such extreme to get your vote back secured. He said, as a Yadav, I cannot win unless the Muslims vote for me. But the day the Hindu becomes a vote bank, I will put the tika and say, Jai Shri Ram. So the answer to correct all these things that unpatriotic people get elected and so on, is to create a climate in the country. Whip it up, you see, this patriotic people. India is under siege, India has been under attack, these people are to blame. And you will find all these people will fall in line. Today even CPM is saying that hanging of Afzal Guru was correct. The atmosphere in the country. So I think again I am saying that the more important thing is the grassroots movement for patriotism. Then no patriotic person will have a chance. Why don't we stop it? I thought the Supreme Court has already given that order. Is it not? Yeah, they have. It's to be implemented I think next year. And anyway, we will follow it up. But health subsidy is totally wrong because even in Muslim countries they don't give health subsidy.
Saying once in a lifetime.
No subsidy under any circumstance. So then there is no pilgrimage, no nobody gives subsidy to poor. To go to Ayyappa's. I think people go themselves. Who is giving subsidy to go to Kumbh Mela? 1 crore people are turned up there. Correct. Well, I don't know what is in his mind, but he has certainly destroyed the Anna movement.
Continue with those questions after the tea break. It's now, according to my watch, 11:15. We'll reassemble at 11:25. 11:25, 10 minutes tea break. We'll come and we'll continue with some of these questions. Thank you.
Here the question, because there are many questions which are similar nature, and I am clubbing these questions and Dr. Swamy will take up the questions from one by one. The first question that I am going to take up is about the judiciary. There are many people from the legal profession present here. There is a question from Mr. Raman Reddy, advocate. The judiciary has been very clean till recently, but now there has been murmurs about the judiciary also being corrupt, and reaction from Dr. Swamy about the type of judiciary that we have.
Who told you that the judiciary has been clean up to now? In fact, it's cleaner now than it was before. Yes. 2G spectrum case, they cancelled 1 or 2 next week. And it is not about Chidambaram. It is higher than Chidambaram. And the higher goes, then Chidambaram automatically goes. Chidambaram was target practice on the way. Okay, so, but I would like one thing that please know that these cases are really tough cases. The amount of work that has to be put in. And I'm really free. Nobody is giving me any money, huh? It's all my own money. And so on my own time, I can't. Fast food center. You go in there and you get the food served through a microwave. This is a thing where it's like a chess game. You have to play it very carefully so that there is no backward, but I cannot be stronger than the judges. The judges are weak, I cannot do anything for it. Doesn't mean my case is weak. And sometimes you see what happens is,
in one of my three cases, Honorable Supreme Court has said that Section 197 CRPC, the sanction, prior sanction of the government is required to prosecute every
what about my yeah, if you don't give them 3 months.
People have congratulated you on EVM case, and electoral reform is a big issue. Question is, how do we overcome fraud, voters, Bangladeshi voters, and similar issues?
Bangladeshi issues. Hello.
I request Professor Rahman Chaudhary to come over to the next.
See, the electronic voting machine, this Andhra election was totally bogus.
Yes.
Totally bogus. All these stories we heard about YSR Reddy going into his room and doing a prayer to Jesus Christ, and then Jesus Christ came and changed the result or whatever. I'm sure you have seen that, those stories. Microcontroller, that is called, and put it in a ballot box before going out. So if you go out with it, then maybe some Gunda mafia will catch you and give you trouble. Why do you not vote for me like that? So you put it in a box. If there is there is a dispute in the election, then the ballot box will be counted, not like today in the same machine. Having lost it, the election commission said, but it will take time. So I said, okay, let them take as much time as they want, but till that time, ballot papers should be used. So now the election commission said, no, we will. I think some assembly elections coming in September, October? Last time? Yeah. They said in that we will, by pilot basis, we will start next Lok Sabha election also will do. So that is, fortunately, Sanatan is becoming the next Chief Justice. So the election commission cannot wait for his retirement. Oh,
Not the representative.
they are not, in India we have too much dictatorship. Already we have anti-defection law and so on. I am not in favor of this because I know Israel has it and they are all complaining in Israel. The system is not good. It's called the list system. No, I am not in favor.
At least half of the house.
Only thing I will change is that if a candidate dies, there will be a fresh by-election. But the party which won, party can nominate them. In India, they don't start killing candidates.
The second question is how to arrest this negative growth.
Let's convert Muslims to Hindus. Can happen, huh? It requires an event. I don't think that if the mullah's influence is not there, which harms the general cause. In a democracy, no violence under any circumstance. We cannot accept it. However, great revolutionary, man who suffered, wrote that wonderful book on the first war of independence. It is he who changed 1857 from mutiny to power of independence. He is the first one to give us the concept of Hindutva in his political. Vivekananda, he transformed.
Two questions. First one is, as an economist, what do you think is the most crucial reforms? And the second one is about the black money stashed abroad and government having the list, not disclosed.
Because their government itself is the list. Well, I would say I would begin reforms now by restoring the confidence of the public. What is the confidence of the public dependent on? You give them saying, I am doing this reform, that reform. They don't see results immediately. I told this to Nasimara. For God's sake, you are
Organizations like COA, communal NGO. So think the parliament to enact the same. Supporting the government to go for this way.
In the present mood, where the government has got so scared that they have given capital punishment to other guru, do you think they have the guts to bring this bill called communal violence bill? They will not be able to bring it. It is dead, gone. Now you can get an Italian violence bill, but not a communal violence. So don't worry about the communal violence, it's not coming.
Regarding China, what about China and the strategy of making strategy of dumping Chinese goods in India?
Well, if they dump Chinese goods in India, go to the WTO and file a case. And you will get a restraining order so that China can't, till the case is decided, export those goods to India. Need not be too worried about Chinese goods. People find them out very quickly. When the batteries from China came, everybody was so, upset. They are bringing it dirt cheap, this and so on. But those batteries are useless. Now nobody is buying Chinese batteries. I don't know whether Chinese people are now buying Chinese mobiles or not. If you buy Chinese mobile, you get radioactivity in your brain. They don't meet standards. So, therefore, I think we should not be so worried about this Chinese.
These media celebrities who lecture every day at 9 p.m. prime time, and the examples are Rajdeep, Sarjasai, Sagarika, and Ram. What about how to handle them? How to expose them?
Aren't they already exposed? I mean, everyone is in bad shape. And tomorrow, Neera Gandhi is not correspondent. And people were asking about Neera Gandhi some time ago. What about Neera Gandhi? What about Neera? She is not priority. When we have got some time to kill, then we will bring her. We have got that already. She is now being investigated. So that's not the issue. The issue is, see, listen, I tell you one thing. This broadcast,
If the separate state of Telangana is found conflicting MIM will be strengthened, and it will be there.
well, then it is for you to choose, no? I mean, I can't decide. They are all, Muslims are also Indian citizens. So if they become stronger.
But it was a banned outfit.
Huh?
MIM was a banned outfit.
No, MIM is not banned.
It was a banned outfit.
1960. Well, I mean, I think, I hope that fellow Asaruddin, no, not Asaruddin, brother, what's his name? Akbaruddin, will come back a little more sensible when he's still in jail, right? So he should know that there will be retaliation. The day the Muslim leaders know that Hindus will say enough is enough, then fundamentally we have to see whether they are saying Kashmir should be given to Pakistan. I have not seen Asaruddin separate, independent, that the Kashmir should be separated, like Prashant Bhushan. Well, I have to see that. But he had gone to Pakistan and he had fired and saying, no, Kashmir will never be separated. I don't know, I've got to see, I've not made up mind. Some of these people, the more you attack them publicly, the more popular they become in their community. Yeah. So you have to be a little sophisticated. Yeah, 83% they say, don't be so scared. You put a complaint. No, then you file a complaint. That's not allowed.
That's not allowed.
Not the image of 3 lions.
Yes.
No, that's not allowed. You can file a complaint.
All
No, you file a complaint. You file a complaint. Abdul I have had terrible quarrels. Even on TV we have had quarrels. So I'm not a supporter of it. But I'm 83%. I'm part of the 83%. I don't want to be frightened by 13%, 14%. That is not. So it's like that, no.
But you are one also knows.
And if you could do usual betting against him and crack him, you would have many more deals.
Is that good for Sonia if I smash him or bad for Sonia? Good for Sonia. Then why should I hit him? You see, like
What is the secret of your energy and your smile?
most people lose their energy only because of one reason, anxiety. worry about the future. If you follow Bhagavad Gita, where it says, God says that you have only one freedom, that is freedom of action. What results will come, when it will come, in what form it will come, that is for me to decide. If you have that mindset that, listen, I am going to do my best, right? If I get the result I want, fine. There also I will not be celebrating. But if I lose, doesn't mean I become depressed. If you have that, then you will never have a problem of energy. At any time, the night, day, etc. Because energy gets sapped by anxiety. And anxiety introduces health problems. Most of the heart attacks in America are due to anxiety. That is why you find all these Americans coming to us, sadhus and sannyasis, to acquire a philosophy by which they will not be anxious. Most of the time your future, worry about the future doesn't come to be true.